Just to annoy you. Okay, now we can start. Why? Hello. It's good. It's good. It's good. I just got back over the weekend from being out in Houston. My daughter had, her high school graduation. That was crazy because it was at 8 o'clock at night, son. 8 o'clock at night, and over 600 graduates at eight
Mm.
o'clock at night. High school graduating class was 8 o'clock. It was over 600 students, which is great. Don't get me wrong. That's a beautiful thing, right? But damn, yes, sir. Yes, she is. She's coming back actually to New York State, not city. So yeah, yeah, definitely. Congratulations.
I'm good. Definitely a solid week. I have a lot of good projects and opportunities coming my way. I feel very grateful. It's been a good week so far.
Uh, yes.
I mean, I disagree. You could find love in any person, no matter their race, gender, sexuality, whatever have you, right? You will find your love. That's going to be a compatibility beyond the physical. So I don't Guys, I'm just gonna cut off real quick. I don't see us live on Instagram. Well, then
Oh, I see
disregard
it.
me because my Instagram is not saying. But you know what? Disregard me. We live. Oh no, you know what it is? It's because I thought we was on a sleeve, not HRR page. Okay.
I I have no issues with Pride at all, right? My pet peeve has nothing to do with the community. My m- I don't know how to I don't know how to say it, but anyway, my thing is not with the community. My thing is there has been so much oppression in this country, and we know you guys know what I'm talking about, and it's like it's been skipped over, and then Pride is something that's like woohoo, and how about this this huge population of individuals who are still struggling in this country. It's just it's it blows my mind on how, but then I understand it to a certain extent because the majority of people who come out for Pride, yes, it's a mixed group, but the people who make the loudest noise are Caucasians in this group. You know what I mean? So hence the reason why it's like, ooh, pride, pride, pride. But what happened to POC? What happened to the struggle of people of color in this country? How is it that we keep on getting muted and told, oh, it's get over it. Oh, that's in the past. All these different things, but yet pride is this huge thing. And then they try and make us feel good with making Juneteenth and all these other cute little things. But when and where I am in at work, they don't close down for Juneteenth.
Right. Oh, they don't.
No,
Wow. Okay.
Me
they don't
neither.
they don't it's like saying yeah, whatever. That's a bullshit holiday anyway. Just like people did with Martin Luther King for a
Right.
long time. Oh, that's a bullshit holiday. That's a bullshit holiday. That's a bullshit. You know what I mean? But Pride, and once again, I know that we have to be sensitive, and I don't have nothing against the LGBTQ. Uh, however many other letters there are,
Right.
right?
Okay.
Community. I have nothing against that. I believe that they should be prideful and they. But if the same energy was put in, what's going on with this country, and what's been going on with people of color, imagine where we would be today.
All right. So you're basically comparing the, because I don't want to mess up your words or your premise, but you're basically saying why has there been much more of an emphasis on, I guess, occasions like Pride than there are for people of color? Is that what you're essentially saying? Because you can, I think it's tough to say that because there are POCs that are part of the LGBT community, so it's kind of it's complicated in that manner.
Yeah, but there is this a lot even within that community. There's a lot of segregation. There's a lot of separation even within that community.
Okay.
Because listen, as a kid, we would go down to the village, and you go to places like Christopher Street, the bars would be filled with white dudes, filled with these white dudes, and there'd be maybe one black guy or one Spanish guy. There's a lot of it's hard to say whether it's you know racism or prejudice, right? But from the outside looking in, you can tell that there's a clear difference.
So you're saying a segregation be within the LGBTQ community?
Of course.
Right. Well, I mean, I think any community. Kiani, what do you think?
I feel like there's a lot to unpack here because to address your original question, do I think that the LGBTQAI plus community has made major movements in history from where they were? Are they more accepted? Yes, absolutely. You could say the same thing for the minority community, the Black community especially, right? Like, we have had major movements. Is it perfect? Is it full equality? No, it's not.
Right.
We know this. But you could say the same thing for the LGBTQIA plus community as well. To address Zay's point, I think, and I don't want to speak for you, right? Zay, I don't want to speak for you, but I think the big conversation that folks tend to have is the same way you have minority Black and brown folks that are part of the LGBTQ community who stand up for those rights. Do those community members stand up for then when we talk about Black pride and Black equality and the prejudice and discrimination that the Black community faces? Do white LGBTQA folks stand up in masses the way that our community will stand in masses with them? And of course, even within our own Black and brown communities, there is a lot of prejudice and a lot of feelings towards the homosexual community, especially, right? Like, being gay is frowned upon in some communities, right?
Still prominently in the African American
community.
Yeah, even it's prominently in the African American community.
The island folk as well, right? Our Dominicans, Jamaicans, like, there is a lot of negative feelings for that community, right? And we're very aware of that. But I think Zay's conversation is really around the way that we in America specifically, when we show up for, Pride Parade and the gay community, do they show up the same way when George Floyd was happening? I think it's the same conversation, not to loop in another topic that we're not talking about, but we talk about feminism and feminists, right? They say white women feel the impacts of the movement more so than Black women, Hispanic women, people of color, that the feminist movement was always catered to the white women more so than the rest of the community. So you could say the same thing with the big strides that the LGBTQA community has always benefited the white community within that space more so than the entirety, the whole pie, You know
Right.
what I'm saying? So I think that, again, not to go super off topic, but that's where we talk about white privilege, where even if you are targeted by discrimination and prejudice, just because you are light skinned, you are white, you're Caucasian, you still get treated like a half a centimeter better. And I think that's where a lot of the conversation should be lies, like in that space.
Do you get offended when people compare LGBTQ issues and they compare it to POC issues?
I think that they're one of the same.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exactly the same because, again, when we talk about racism in this country, we talk about especially the African American community, we talk about slavery, right? That mass incarceration of people did not happen in the LGBTQ community. Of course, there was Stonewall, there was,
Right.
you know, historically, like, you know, prominent events that happened that affected that community. It's not the same as chattel slavery. So I think that there is some sensitivity when we talk about trying to compare the two because the history is different.
Right.
But when we talk about the struggle, when we talk about the perseverance that both communities had to endure, it's very much still based in the same. Like having to contend with the popular opinion.
I think why people
having to.
I'm sorry to interrupt,
Yeah, go ahead.
but I think the reason why it's more prominently African Americans, the black people, black culture. I think why we get so offended is because, like you just mentioned, like you can't compare. Like I can't hide being black. You know what I'm saying? But somebody can hide from being a homosexual. You know, and so I don't like the comparison just because I think once again I can hide. I mean, I can't hide who I am, but unfortunately for some people, you shouldn't hide who you are, be yourself, but you can do that and not have to deal with that discrimination from society. Zay, what do you feel about that? Because I think that's like the crux of why specifically the black community, they don't, it's still a gap in acceptance when it comes to that community in African Americans, especially males. Like there's still, I feel like we've gotten much better, of course, but there's still, polls do still show there is not much unity when it comes to African American males and aligning with the LGBTQ community.
All right, can I have a word?
Sure, that's what I said, Zay.
I think it's bullshit. I think you should never ever compare the two.
Right.
There's no fucking way. You got to be out of your fucking mind. Millions of people didn't fucking die. I mean, how can you? You have, and they have done it. They have actually tried to compare it early on when there was trying to get the equality and get when they were talking about getting like their partners healthcare and all this other stuff, and we're struggling, and it's just like, no, it's not. You got to be out of your fucking mind. There was no. See, this is the difference. Homosexuality has been around forever.
Yeah, 100%. Yes.
Right, but they've had spokesmen in all areas, in business, in politics. This guy, I forget his last name, but I saw the movie Milk.
Mm-hmm. Harvey Milk, yes.
Harvey Milk, right? Very interesting. He was a politician who was out.
Open, yeah. 100%.
Everybody, he was open 100%. We didn't have no black people. There was no black people in office in politics. I mean, how can you even compare? They had people spearheading their movement. The people who were spearheading our movement were getting, beat up in the streets, and got dogs sick down. How many people got hung? There's no way you can compare it. There's no way. There's no way. I'm sorry. Do I understand the struggles and everything else? Yes, I do. I get it. I get it,
Mhm.
right? Because people should be able to live however they want without judgment,
100%. Yes.
right? Especially if you're not hurting somebody else.
Huh.
But to compare yourself to the black struggle in this country, you got to be out of your fucking mind.
Okay, it's fair. I mean, I think that's why it just to answer you, to answer what Kiani was saying, and I understand where Kiani's point was is there's an overall struggle that we should all align ourselves with. That's fair, but I do agree with Zay, and to the point where you to compare both struggles is not the same. There were different circumstances. There were different repercussions that the black community. I also want to get into because, like we mentioned, it seems to be still a taboo in especially the Christian black community. We like to have fun. We like to, joke around, things like that. But I'll tell you a story. So I used to own a prominent studio where we were doing podcasts and other media stuff. And what would usually happen is if it's a new client, I make sure I'm there and I introduce myself. I set them up and make sure they're good. And so these new clients come in, I'm setting them up or whatever, and we're kind of early banter, getting to know each other. And one of the gentlemen on the show says something, and I say, pause. I was like, yo, pause. And usually when I do that, it's usually a room of laughter. But in this instance, it was dead silent. And so, not that it wasn't funny or anything. I was just like, okay, that's a little weird. Usually there's some type of humor after that. And then when I start recording their show, I realize like, oh, this is a gay-based podcast. This is a LGBTQ based podcast, which opened my eyes into, dag, like certain jokes that we make isn't funny for that community. And so even to this day, I still do it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I still use pause. I don't do no homo. I don't do no diddy. But what do y'all feel about that? We'll start with Zay. Like the idea, like because you called me out like a couple weeks on it about you're still doing that. Can you grow out of that? Is it offensive? Or should we still be doing it? Like, what are your thoughts on that, Zay?
Listen.
First off, first of all, I guess answer this first question: do you deem it offensive to say pause?
No.
Now, granted, to be fair, you are not gay, so you're speaking from a point of view from a straight male that, okay, respectfully. Now, if we asked those men in that room when I said it, they didn't find it funny. So to be fair, they might not deem that hilarious. They might not deem that funny. Like maybe they.
Yeah, but but okay. I get what you're saying, but we're not bashing anybody though. That's not bashing anybody. To say pause to somebody is you're not bashing, the gay community in any way.
I think in the context of what you're responding to, though.
Well, like if I say like if you say, "Oh, I eat hot dogs," and I go, "Oh, pause," or you go pause because you eat hot dogs,
or if you say, "Yo, I love glizzies,"
or "I love glizzies," and you say pause,
right?
For me, that's not bashing the gay community because we know that gay men, right? Mm-hmm. Some, if not all, do those things.
Right. Okay.
So, all right. So they could talk about us because we go down on females, but we can't say anything because they do the same thing.
That's not. I don't think that's fair. I don't think there's a campaign of.
Wait. No, there's not a pause for them. There's not a pause for them. But I've had conversations with them, be like, "Oh, you eat pussy." Like,
oh, I've never had
ill, you know what I mean? Like that type of ill
right.
kind of type, which is the same thing. It's really the same thing. It's really the same thing when because what you're saying is that's nasty, ill, da, da, da. I don't know. Maybe in that respect, to a certain extent, it is offensive.
Okay, when you say all right, so when you say, because I want to get to Kiani, but when you say no homo, you could kind of deem that's offensive.
Well, because homo is offensive. The word in itself is offensive.
Right, and when you say no homo, that's right. Kiana, you said you were having a conversation. So you deemed pause offensive or no?
I mean, I feel like I can agree with what Zay said. You know, I don't think that inherently saying pause is offensive towards the gay community, but I think it's the fact that anything that's associated with being potentially gay, like we talked about a glizzy. Oh, I love glizzies. It's like, oh,
I'm sorry.
pause.
I'm such
Like,
an idiot.
why do you
I
have
love me
to,
some
why
good
do you
double
have,
fist and like,
why do you have
love
to tell,
glizzy.
no, listen, like, why do you have to make it a point that when I say glizzies is not dick? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you having to say
We're stupid. That's why.
pause is like, bro, why are you even thinking about, you know what I'm saying?
Because we're
about hot dogs.
I mean, to be fair though, we're idiots though. Like that's the thing, you guys. We are effing idiots.
Listen,
like,
we but in a sense, of course, we're talking about it in a funny way. But then it's like, are we making a joke about being gay? Because then it's like, oh, we know what the punchline is. We know what the punchline is supposed to insinuate.
Right.
So it's like, is pause offensive? I feel like it really depends, like, on the context, you know, and that, because there's a little gray area, that's why, like, it's better just not to do it. And to kind of to address the no homo, yeah, definitely not okay.
yeah, I don't think
Like,
I don't even think
pause
I don't think we even do that anymore.
has been a good progression in trying to get away from that, but nonetheless, like, listen, people should be secure in their sexuality. You don't have to like announce that you're not gay.
Right.
Like, if you know what you like and who you are, it doesn't matter how other people view you or what they perceive of you. You know what you like, and you don't need other people to validate that for you. Right? So I feel like the whole concept, we could talk about it being silly and dumb, and and people trying to be funny. And I don't necessarily think that the homosexual or the gay community or LGBTQIA like feel personally like heavily attacked. They might not think of it as funny. They might not think it as like comedic.
Right.
But I don't necessarily think that they might feel like ultra offended. But
there was definitely
there was
definitely tension in that room when I said it though. Like, and it was in context of like it was in that context, and I was like, hey, yo, pause, and you know there was no response, and that kind of opened my eye. Like, oh yeah, maybe one, am I too old? And I'll ask you guys this too. Like, am I too old to still be doing pause? But two, like, yo, like they didn't find it funny because I think it had to do contextually with I don't know in how they were said, but it was definitely in the context of something that had to do with homosexuality. So once again, like, can you be too old? Like, should we have like a limit too? Like, I will start with Zay. Because you
shouldn't be using the stupid word anyway.
What,
it's just
pause?
ridiculous. Yes.
You used pause last week, bro.
I used pause because I'm catering to your young mind.
Oh, that was my fault. Oh,
no, I'm serious because I don't censor
sorry.
myself. I don't censor myself. When I have conversations, I don't censor myself. I say it to be funny, but I even in regular conversations, you won't ever hear me say in conversation to other people outside of like my friends, right? I won't use that. I'll tell people, oh, Jose, do you eat hot dogs? I love hot dogs. Like I said, I double fist hot dogs. I love hot dogs.
No, see, that's where you got to stop. See, that's what I'm talking about.
You know what I'm saying?
You took it there.
Because I am.
You took it there, though.
I'm secure. I'm secure with my sexuality. I don't have to.
So am I. But once again,
explain myself.
But you're on this mature
I'm
pedestal. You're on this mature pedestal as if to say, oh, we shouldn't be using that word. You're too young to be. You're too old to be using that.
But I was never the pause guy. I was never that dude.
You either said pause or
I never. Because I'm doing it to be funny. Because I know that you, in your adolescent mind, still think that shit is cool.
Don't put your shortcomings on me, fam.
I just did. Where's my shortcomings? You bugging?
Because you're blaming me for the fact that you use the word because you're trying to match my adolescent mind. I'm not denying the fact that I have an adolescent mind. I'm an idiot. Like, I'm not denying that whatsoever. I'm a tool. I'm not denying that one bit. But then for you to sit there and say, "Oh well, I'm only saying it just to appease your mind because you're an idiot," that's
I'm
not
not.
fair.
I know because we're friends, and I do
Yo,
it just
I am
because I know you still use it, and even when I say it, you be like, hey yo, I'll be like, really,
I think
really. How many times have I told you, really?
I think first off, I think we should, and I don't hear it used anymore. No homo. I don't say that. I think that is offensive. I can see why people could find it offensive, and I don't really hear people say that anymore. Pause. I don't know if I'll ever outgrow that because once again, like I just admitted, I am an idiot. I swear to God, I'm going to screenshot text message exchanges between me and you, Zay. I swear that will be our new background.
Yeah, no. So I'm saying though, I'm not saying that I don't use it, but in regular conversation with individuals that I don't know, I don't use that word.
Well, I don't do it.
I don't have to.
I don't meet a
I
new
don't have
bank
to-
teller and be like, "Hey, yo, pause." Like, of course, I don't do it with people I just meet. I understand that, but you're saying it in context in terms of like,
Nah, son. I've seen you use that word. Nah.
with in serious situations. No,
It's just a regular conversation. Just a regular conversation. Yes.
with a person I don't know.
Well, I don't know if you don't know them, but I've been in like when we're back in the studio. But obviously, those individuals you know. So
Okay, so let me ask Yanni this: is no Diddy offensive?
Yes. we the ultra freaky.
Yeah.
Like no, because first of all, we've already addressed the Diddy situation in a previous show. We already know what he's about. That is not a good connection to the LGBTQIA community.
But we're not
You know
talking
what I'm
about.
saying?
But we're not talking about
No,
that. We're talking about Diddy
but we're saying-
directly.
No, but a lot of people have been using no Diddy, like pause, no homo.
That is true. Yes.
So like people have been saying like no Diddy, out no Diddy. So it's like, oh, like when they talk about ultra freaky, potentially like gay activity, they'll be like no Diddy.
That is true.
And so, with that being said, no, could that be considered offensive? Yes, absolutely, because what he was doing was sexual assault. What he was doing was borderline rape. What he was doing was against the law. Being gay is not against the law. Having your own sexual preference is not against the law. You know what I'm saying? So to associate the two would be disrespectful.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Yeah, but when
it's the same concept of it being like, oh, you Bill Cosby'd. Like you not gonna say that. Like that's not.
Yeah, no Cosby.
You don't want to be associated.
Nah, it's
you don't want
funny.
to be associated with that.
But I think No Diddy started out as a reference to homosexuality. I think that's a fact. Like it wasn't like nobody never said No Cosby because it was based on SAing people. It was No Diddy's based on being that we find out more now, especially with the trial going on, and it just seemed like he was much more of a freak than anything else. I don't know if there's more to come about him participating in homosexual acts. That's his prerogative. Like you said, it's not illegal. But yeah, it's. I think originally when people were saying no Diddy, that was another version of saying no homo. In all fairness, go ahead, Zay.
I don't know. I look at it a little differently because I think it's just taking a shot at Diddy. That's the way I look at it. It's just taking a shot at him.
Nah, when people, if you look up no Diddy. It usually came after something that had to do with a homosexual act. I mean, let's be real. Like I don't think it had anything to do with. Your sound's off, sir. There you go.
That's because he was having quote unquote homosexual,
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I
right?
don't want to get sued. We ain't got much of a budget. Chill.
There was like, homosexual shit going on.
Which is fine. There's no judgment. That's perfectly fine.
No judgment. No judgment zone.
Shout out New York Daily Photos. Shout out to you. Shout out to... First of all, who didn't know what glizzies were? Shout out to you. And I like that you had to clarify hot dogs. Look at us educating the people. Yeah, glizzies are referring to hot dogs. I thought glizzies referred to the male anatomy, but no, it has to do with...
No, it's all the same. That's what I was saying. That's why when we talk about glizzies, that's why they say no homo. Because it does mean the male genitalia.
It does. I'm confused, man.
Does it?
I thought
No, but I feel like it's like insinuated. I wouldn't say like people would be like, "Oh, you got your glizzy on you," like, or you try to whip out that glizzy. Like, no one's saying that. Like,
I've never heard
but
anybody say like, "Yo,
I
I'm gonna
feel
go buy
like
glizzy."
Yeah, but the thing is, you know what? I googled it. The glizzy is slang term for that refers to a hot dog or a Glock.
yes, a Glock. Yeah,
Yeah.
the glizzy, the Glock. Yeah, yeah.
I am such an idiot. Like my adolescent mind is like hopping up like this.
See, adolescence. There you go.
Yeah, but don't blame me. Don't blame my adolescent idiotic mind state for your. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like how you like to
I'm
attach
just
it to
feeding
it.
your adolescence, brother. I'm
Yeah.
just feeding your adolescence.
All right, yeah, whatever. Well, listen, I'm fine. We have some type of clarity in what we were talking about. I'm gonna try not to say pause anymore. I know I'm not though. I know I'm not. I mean, a simple "ayo" is good for me. It suffice for me. Because I think pause really goes to like it isn't just homosexual references or anything like that. I think it goes to like a wide array of things that can be said that you might be like, oh, hey, yo,
Nah.
yeah.
But most of the time, pause is used for things that are
Go ahead, say it. Go ahead.
perceived as homosexual, as gay.
I don't think so. I
Yeah,
mean,
all of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. There's not one thing that you can say that's the only reason why pause came out. That's the only reason why pause. What other situation would you use pause in?
hold on. So I think somebody's trying to be funny. Somebody said, I have a question. Do you feel more brave in your statements when wearing sunglasses?
We got questions for.
Ah,
So wait a minute. All right. So let's preface this. Okay. Now I guess it has to be.
that's my man.
I'll answer this because he's probably gobbling on a glizzy right now. He probably typed it with one hand. But anyway, one, I have an eye issue. Okay, I can show you the charts. I have eye issues. I have severe floaters. And two, the light that I use because I'm so dark skinned, proud of it, is right in my face. So I keep the shades on at all times. Is that okay? Does that answer your question, glizzy face? All right. Does that answer your question? And yo,
Oh my
and
God.
you know what's even crazier? I'm reading his statement like, oh, he has a real question. Oh yeah. And then I see it wearing sunglasses. Like, oh god. All right, that was funny though. I got you, Playboy.
But okay, so before we get off this topic, do
ahead.
you not think that it's quite silly the fact that we've been using these things because at the end of the day, what is it that makes us think of homosexuality when talking about things like hot dogs and oh I ate it, I swallowed it, and you could be talking about just regular food, you know what I mean? But when it refers to or something that you can quote unquote it's the word I'm looking for, um take as something that
Associate.
or
Hmm.
associate as something that's homosexual, why is it that the first thing we think of, see, the individual who says hey yo and no homo and pause is the individual who's thinking about a homosexual act.
I mean, I think there's just certain statements that are made that you don't sit there and you'd be like,
Come on, man. I love to eat hot dogs, and I'm telling you, I
nah,
like to suck dick.
Oh, let me
no.
go one step
Go
further.
ahead.
Let me go one step further. You know the people who won't eat a banana, they gotta break off the banana
No, that's
and eat
ridiculous.
it.
That's ridiculous.
Or
Yeah, that's
or the
ridiculous.
popsicle, the icy popsicle on a stick, you break it off and eat
Yeah,
it
yeah,
because
no,
they
that's
don't want to be caught eating it, licking it like
no,
like
that's
a
that's an
popsicle
insecure
or
guy.
like eating a banana.
That's an insecure
Like no,
guy.
that is, and that's what I'm saying. Like there, it goes very extreme, very extreme.
Nah, like it's thank you for the shout out. All right. Okay, guys. Take care of my man. All right, man. Thanks for joining us, man. We appreciate you, Playboy. I don't know. I think it's just sometimes it's like what Zay said. It does depend on like if you're around people. I know in certain contexts it has been used not in reference to homosexual acts, but I think okay, you might be right. Like in the majority of that statement, when somebody might say pause, it does probably follow up. But you know what you're doing. Like, first of all, one thing you cannot deny. One thing you cannot deny. It's funny. It is funny. Okay, I think excessiveness is not funny when you're doing it all the time, but a good pause after the right comment, it's funny. When you say, yo, I could go for a glizzy right now in my mouth. If nobody says pause in that room, even you're laughing. You're right. If me and Zay are in a room,
Childish.
that's what I'm saying. We're childish as hell. If me and Zay are sitting in the room and we're just talking about something, and he says he's hungry, I'm like, oh, what do you want to get? He's like, man, I really could go for a glizzy right now. Really,
but I would never say that's a. See, I would
I'm just
say
trying to give an
glizzy
example.
to you. Yeah, but see, this is the thing, though. I would say a glizzy to you because once again, I got to feed your adolescent mind, right?
Yo, stop
But
blaming
in-
my adolescent. It's nothing to do with my adolescent. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm an idiot. I'm not denying that. Stop blaming that. All right, I need help.
But I would very quickly be like, yo, I could go for some Nathan's right now. I could go for a hot dog right now. You know what I mean? And just by saying, even if I didn't say hot dog, if I said Nathan's, dudes would be like, hey,
No.
yo.
I
I'm
think
like,
if you said like a long Nathan, if you said I could go for a long Nathan,
why would I even say a long Nathan?
because they have lengths. They have different lengths. I'm just saying that. But you guys are proving my point.
Yes.
Thank you. You're proving my point. You're proving my point. I hope you guys are realizing you are exactly proving my point. It's funny. As much as you want to deny it.
Not for
it's
nothing,
funny.
though, but I would question the guy who's telling you on how he wants to go and get a long Nathan.
Like,
I would not be hanging out with that dude like that.
but what I'm saying is though, and I've heard women say it, especially New York women, but even women say it like, I'll even do it like, if somebody says yo bend over, I'm like, hey yo, like it's just, it doesn't always have to contextually have to be compared to homosexuality. I just think sometimes
My man.
You know.
If somebody tells you bend over and you go, hey yo,
I didn't say pause.
Come on.
I just said hey yo. I mean, come on.
it's
Man.
the same thing. It's the same thing. Pause and
Nah.
hey yo are the same thing.
Nah, Ayo can be used in so many other ways, man. I really don't think so. I'm just glad that
Give
we've
me an example, because you're bullshitting now. Give me an example.
like I've used it with my mom before. My mom has said something crazy like I think she got like something happened in the sink and she got all wet. She's like, oh man, I'm all wet. And I'm like, hey yo, I'll do it. See, that's the context. Like, yeah, I'll use it in that context.
What the?
I'd be like, hey yo. That's my example.
Once again,
That has nothing to do with homosexual. That's just nastiness. Like that's what I'm saying.
It's adolescence. Once again,
I'm not denying that. I am not denying that. Once again.
No, that's that freak shit. That's that
That's
weird
what I'm
shit.
saying though. If like
to your own mom, really? That's crazy.
or just any but
That's
any
incest.
woman.
That's
No.
so weird.
No, but
no.
like I'm talking about in reference to any woman. To any woman, right? If a woman's whatever and like, damn, I'm all wet, I'd be like, hey, yo. I would say that. 100%. I would say that. Maybe maybe using my mom was the bad example. That was clear. That was kind of crazy.
Super bad.
Edit button now. Like that is.
Yeah, that goes beyond what we're talking about.
I already told y'all I'm an idiot, so that ain't got nothing to do with nothing. But I think that's the thing. Like even if there are examples where it can be used in a heterosexual or just a freaky way. If somebody said like, "Yo, I don't know," I know you guys know examples of when it can be used and it not be deemed homosexual. Like I know there's examples. So
Examples of what?
saying the word pause or a yo and not like my kids say it to me now, which is wild. Like I'm mad. I could pass down.
No, I feel like pause is very much associated with like any like homosexual comment.
Really?
I can't think of an example where you would say pause.
Yeah, no, I think you
Because again, pause is the equivalent to no homo. That's the whole point.
By the end of this show, we're gonna find a way where pause has been used and not reference anything gay. We're gonna figure it out. That is my mission in this show. Okay, let's move along. I'm gonna let the topic sit, but if it comes back, if there's an instance that comes back, I'm definitely using pause. Just to get on a lighter note, so I noticed there was a release of story of Vanessa Bryant. You know who Vanessa Bryant is? She is the widow of Kobe Bryant. And for whatever reason, there was a rumor out there saying that she was pregnant, and she's since denied that in her own way. So kudos to her. But it had me thinking about one thing. Okay. That next nigga, can she date after Kobe Bryant? Like, that next guy has to be literally Jesus. Like, you can't, that next man, and I'm trying to be respectful to her. Like, it's been 5 years since the passing, and it's been, obviously, it's unfortunate or whatever. But, you know, I wonder if she will date again, and if she decides to date again, who is willing, or I guess secure enough to say, yo, I'm willing to try to date Vanessa Bryant. Kiani, what do you think about that?
I mean, do I think she's gonna date again? Absolutely. Because what, is she gonna die a widow forever?
Like,
she's young still.
She's human. She's
So,
a human being. I get it.
she's a human being, and so yeah, eventually, I'm sure she will find another love. She will have love for Kobe forever. To find someone else does not lessen the love that you had for your late husband. Like it's those two things can be true. You can have
Kiani,
love for your late husband and also find love, after the fact.
yo,
Because
I'm
they
sorry.
talk about
Let me interrupt you. Let me preface it in this way. Okay, we've all dated. This is different though. Like, we're gonna go to dinner. We're gonna pass the mural of your ex-husband, and then we're gonna go past the arena that your ex-husband played at and had a whole ceremony of, and is pretty much an icon in. Who, by the way, has a statue in the front.
which is, he's still a human. He's still a person just like anybody else. Yes. Is it intimidating? I think for the next person that dates her, being able to say, like, can I match up to who she was previously with? That's going to be intimidating for the person that dates her. But for her, I don't think she's necessarily going to be comparing. She's just going to be looking for somebody who can, fill that hole in her heart. I don't think that it's
Pause.
going to have to be like you have. Stop. See, no.
That was pause worthy. That was pause worthy.
But no, it was not.
Yes, it was.
Fill
Continue.
the hole in your heart. Pause. Fill the hole in your heart. Who put a dick in their heart? Like, what are you saying? Yo, you're bugging out.
All right, that was a stretch.
You
Yeah,
was stretched. You was stretching it.
All right. I was just eager to get rid of it. We got. I'm sorry. Continue.
But no, look, do I think that it is intimidating for the next partner to have to know that, like, wow, she really was with Kobe Bryant. I have a lot to live up to. Am I going to satisfy her? And again, not in a sexual,
Right.
necessarily sexual way, but just like it, as far as like being the man that she was previously with, like being proud to be by my side, to be on my arm. So I think that it would be intimidating for that next person. But from the perspective of Vanessa, she's just going to be looking for somebody that she wants to love on. And, as they say, when you do lose your partner, you would hope that your partner in their afterlife would want you to find somebody else
Of
and
course.
to want you to find love.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And to move on and be able to, enjoy the years that you do have on this earth.
I don't think
they wouldn't want you to be alone.
I don't think the fault would be on her. I think you're right in saying that. Yeah, she wants to. Obviously, she wants a companion. She wants somebody to move on with. Like, she's a human being. We get that. I just think it's too much of, and I think it's more of the other side issue where it might just be way too intimidating, because once again, like I said, and we'll get to Zay, like, you are following an icon. not even mentioning
I feel like
anything.
maybe it's more intimidating for a man.
That's what I'm saying.
You
Yeah,
know, in a sense.
that's what I'm saying. Like,
I feel like that's very prominent when you think about like the male ego. I think that's where it really comes into
yeah,
play.
because you are following not just you know a deceased husband. You are following a global icon. Let's just call it what it is. Who was revered. He had his miscomings, but we put that aside. He was revered and was lost tragically, and we all had to watch it. And there, like, he is, I'm not saying everywhere, but he's in your sneaker store. He's in your TV, whether it's highlights. He's on your internet. He's in your neighborhood with a mural. He's with a statue. He's constantly being referred to by other famous people. Like, he has a whole system based off of who he was, called the Mamba mentality. Like, that's pretty intimidating for any guy to follow that. Go ahead, Zay.
I don't think as I don't think that's an issue.
You don't
Because I'm
think?
not dating. I'm not dating Kobe. I'm dating his wife, his ex-wife.
I understand that.
And regardless of anything, I'm gonna be who I need to be. I don't need to match up to anybody. All I need to do is make sure that I love her, care for her, support her, be a man. That's it. Because that's all it
Mhm.
takes. All this other stuff, I get what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
but that I will never be able to, and nobody who she gets with is gonna be able to fill Kobe's shoes. We understand that,
No one.
right? So why am I even why the she is not she it a relationship for her is never ever going to work with a guy who's trying to fill his shoes
Right.
or to be like
Or
him
constantly comparing
or
himself. Right.
right. She's not going to find love that way. She's going to find love in a man who's secure in who he is and understands what he needs to give in this relationship in order for it to work. Bottom line,
Right.
it's love, compassion, respect, uh, 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 support. You know, all those major things. Fuck all the other stuff, because you, even money wise, she herself,
She's all good. She's perfect.
she doesn't need anybody else's money,
No,
brother.
she
She
doesn't.
doesn't
Absolutely
need to be at the games looking at another ball player. She don't need none of that.
not. Right.
So what is she looking for? She's looking for somebody who's going to treat her like a woman, who's going to make her feel loved and wanted and protected. Bottom line. So all that other stuff, and I guess that's coming from the short, fat guy who I have a lot of confidence in myself. You know what I'm saying? I 100%. I don't need to be matching up to a dude who's 6 feet. I'm not that dude, but
Right.
I know what I'm worth.
Right.
And I want to
So
follow up. I want to follow up on that. For Vanessa as a woman, right? If she's giving you the time of day, if she is, and you know, not even entertaining you, if she's treating you seriously as somebody who could be a potential future partner, then that should be all the clarity you need. You don't, I think, again, that's going back to my point of male ego. You yourself don't feel like you can be matching up to Kobe because you feel like you have to strive to that type of level. But if you have his, you know, former wife, you know, widowed wife who is really trying to pursue you and can see you being, you know, the partner that she decides to commit to, that in itself should give you the clarity and ego boost. You don't necessarily have to continue to think about her late husband and wanting to be on her and being on his level. I think that the validation of knowing that she cares for you, she sees potential in you, and she could potentially love you is enough.
No, I see, and I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying it has to be very intimidating initially for any guy. I don't care. You can be very secure. That is a very and I'm not saying you have to compare yourself to him or live up to him or try to fill his shoes. But at the end of the day, like, it's still an intimidating a cloud that's gonna follow you, and you might surpass that. You might just say like, "Oh no, I'm getting to know her as a person, and we're just vibing, and it's cool, and it's great," and that's what you're gonna strive for. But once again, that initial, you know, couple of meetings, a couple of dates is still gonna be like, man, I am with Kobe's ex-wife. You have to think about it. You're gonna have to think about it. There's no dodging it. There's no dodging.
I think that no, I mean, again, you could date somebody who's not into basketball, as an example.
But that's
Like
the thing.
maybe they just
Even
don't
people
hold. They don't hold a lot of weight to Kobe. Like as somebody who is a fan of the NBA, who's somebody who watched him, who was a fan of his, I can see you having that like undeniable respect for the career and who he was and him as a person. Let's say you're completely disconnected from it. Yeah, that's Kobe Bryant's ex-wife, widowed wife, but maybe that particular person who's not well versed in the sport, not a Kobe fan, maybe was just not, aware of his stardom and fame.
No,
that would be somebody who probably would not have the same sentiments that you're having right now.
No, I see what you're saying. But that's the thing about Kobe. Even if you weren't a basketball fan, you know who Kobe Bryant is. Like you just
fair.
You do know like there was no denying whether you weren't a fan or not. You still unfortunately heard the news of him passing. You still had to. It was still sad to all the circumstances in which he passed away, and you know who Kobe Bryant is. You may not be a basketball fan, but you know who Kobe Bryant is. Go ahead, Zay. You had something to say before we move on?
The thing is that I think when you talk to people, when you talk about people who are in the media eye, right? I think it's more difficult for an individual who's, let's say, is an actor, who's a famous actor and stuff like that, because the media is going to be on top of you like flies on shit.
Yeah.
Right? Because the media is on top of your partner. But with somebody like Kobe's wife, even though she is in the media eye, it's not the same thing.
Right.
Not the same thing. She can disconnect whenever she wants. She doesn't, once again, like we don't hear of anything until something kind of happens, right? But when was the last time you heard about something about Vanessa?
Well, this past couple of weeks when they were rumors
Yeah,
of.
that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Yeah, but besides that, when was the last time? So if she's dating somebody, we don't even know.
Probably wouldn't even know. Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
Right.
Because she's not. I mean, if it catches wind,
celebrity.
Yeah, she's not like celebrity in that manner. She is the wife of the ex-wife of the, you know what I mean, the widow, the widow of. She's not Kobe.
Right.
Right. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. Not to mention the fact that you have plenty of couples that have survived the test of time where one person is in the media eye and the other person is not. You got plenty of those people. Or at some point were and weren't, and the other one still is, stuff like that. You have couples like that already. So can it be done? 100%. But it's going to take the individual, the male that goes into her life, to be a strong individual. Because regardless of anything else, it doesn't really matter.
Do you think it's actually better if he wasn't a celebrity? Because I feel like it'd be better if he wasn't a celebrity. And by the way, we're gonna get to for our Instagram viewers, we're gonna get cut off soon. So if you want to get to the hard R segment, just watch us on YouTube on the sleeve. All right, I'm sorry, guys.
To a certain extent, I guess it would be. I think it would be better if you want to stay quiet about it and everything. But once again, she's not a hot topic like that, and it's no disrespect to her.
No, not at all. Right, we're trying to be very respectful.
Yeah, she's she's not like out in the media like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
The shade room, whatever. As soon as Vanessa comes out public with whoever she's dating, it's going to
be everywhere, no matter what.
It's going to be everywhere. Oh, Vanessa Bryant starting to date. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, who's the nigga though?
Yes.
Right, who's the nigga?
Who's the new man? Whether or not she herself has her own career, that makes her an influencer and has her own separate fame outside of being Kobe's ex-wife, yes, we can say she doesn't have her own fame, but because of her status and who she was and who she was married with, the media will always have
Yeah,
an eye on her.
it's
That's
tough.
just the truth.
It's just yeah, that's
It's
just gonna be
tough.
tough. It's gonna be tough.
It is the truth.
Well, listen, like I said, and we say this with all respect, like we're not trying to offend her in any way, but that is a reality. Like once again, she is a human being. She's still young, and I'm pretty like once again, the conversation of okay, do you plan on date again? What if you meet somebody? I'm pretty sure that's gonna come up. So, and like you said, once she does and makes that first appearance, everybody's the TMZ, the shave rooms, all of them are gonna be like, "Who's the guy? How is he gonna?" And immediately within the first couple sentences of the article, you will see the name Kobe, and he may not be comparing himself to him, but the media will, and it's gonna be that. So
Yeah, but how can you compare? How, especially if she doesn't date within the NBA, there's no way for them to compare that person.
it's
Now,
not.
if he's a ball player, 100%, they're gonna go. Forget it. They're gonna go berserk. But if he's a lawyer, if he's a doctor, there's no way that they're gonna compare. There's no way that
I
they
don't
can
mean.
compare.
I don't
that
mean
guy.
compare. I just mean like it's just like
Interested in the
yeah,
media is gonna want
they're
to
gonna
know,
want
and
to
they're gonna
know.
want to keep
Yeah,
tabs, and they're gonna want to tell the public
Right.
what they're up
They're gonna
to.
watch their every move. They're gonna see where
They're
they're gonna
gonna take their
vacation
pictures
at.
when they on dates,
Right.
when they in the restaurant. There's gonna be pictures of them on dates,
Has
of them on the beach.
has she
You know,
introduced her to the has she introduced him to the other kids? Like
right?
what do Kobe's ex teammates and friends feel about? Like is the whole what do the Kardashians feel because they're close? What does Lala Anthony think of? There's a whole
Right.
there's so much. That's what I mean when I say it's not just about the guy. It's just the whole globe is essentially gonna be looking at you like, yo, you're the next guy. And I think at the end of the day, we should just say to ourselves, let's just hope he's a nice guy. Like let's just he takes care of her. That's all it is. All right, let's get to hard R. Do any of y'all have anybody? We're off the Instagram right now. Do any of y'all have anybody y'all
yeah.
want to nominate for hard R?
I have a couple
All right,
that
let's
I've
go.
been keeping in the back pocket.
All right, let's go.
Ashton Kutcher.
Zay, you started off. Ashton, he's from the Midwest. He's from Iowa, I think. Right? Ooh. Was on that 70s show. Executive producer for Punk'd. He's married to Mila Kunis.
Mila Kunis. Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say at a Hollywood party, he said A. I don't think he's ever said R, though. I think he has said A in a drunk night in Hollywood. I think so. Zay, what do you think?
You think so?
Yeah.
Let's see. Where was he born? He was born.
You really go like he really has a criteria when it comes to this. Like he has to check
Iowa.
stats. I said he's from Iowa.
Where he from? Iowa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna say no.
Never.
Never. You think never?
Nah, because we know him from that 70s. We know him from Punk'd. He did a lot of he did a lot of what's it called episodes with rappers and all different type of people. I don't know. I don't think so.
I'm
I don't think so.
gonna say A. What do you think, Kiani?
I could probably hear him say A. I could probably hear him say A.
It's hard to say 100%. My first instinct is to say never. He never said it. I don't feel like he seems like somebody who would be comfortable enough to say it. But at the same time, I could understand him being, on drunken stupid shit.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I'm not gonna put it past it, but I'm gonna say what he ain't say it. He ain't say it.
Yeah, I think we all unanimously don't think he's ever used the R, but I think A is once again is a drunk night. He's probably with some rappers chilling out. Hey, wasn't it funny how I punked you, whatever, my nigga? And it was like, easy there, fam. Relax. Who was the other person you had, Kiani?
Oh, damn. I had a couple now. I was gonna say Madonna.
That's a good one.
Nah, she definitely said A.
I
Hard
would even
R.
say it's going hard R. Like,
Nah,
Ooh, that's a good one.
well, no, not for
Madonna.
nothing. I used to see Madonna in the clubs, like right before she became popular,
Nigga, you that old? Shit.
damn.
Shit.
and
What
she
what what what
she
Kevin Hart say?
Damn.
she was yeah she was around black and Spanish people, like you know what I mean,
So what are you
like all the
saying?
vulgars and stuff like that. Nah,
So she
maybe
would not be derogatory towards them.
nah. I don't think she would be derogatory.
I think she does have black adopted kids too. So
Also true. Also true. I take it back. I
you
lied on the record.
so you're gonna say no. You're gonna say nay.
Scratch that off.
You're gonna say nay.
I
Nah,
mean,
nah.
I could see Angelina be like, "Come here, little nigga." Like
No,
her.
no,
Yo, wildin',
no.
wildin'. Brad Pitt. You think Brad Pitt say that shit?
Nah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
You think Brad? What about Brad Pitt though?
Nah.
You don't think he's ever said the A at the very least?
No, I don't think.
Nah.
Nah, I don't think so.
You don't
either.
think he ever be too comfortable?
Nah,
Nah.
I think
But how about
I think he might have said R in a movie though. I think he
maybe?
might have, yeah, in a movie, but it's a movie. It's in the script.
That's a movie. That's
yeah,
that's it. You're right.
Yeah.
How about Bill Clinton?
R.
What? You said that so fast. R. Immediately.
You know, a lot of people.
Look at him.
Yeah,
Look
uh,
at him.
but a lot of
Look
people,
at him.
a lot of people considered him the first black president
Really, Keanu?
back
You
in the
think
days.
you stand by that R, huh?
I mean, listen. I guess I don't know. I'm just going off of looks. He looked like
He's used the R.
Wow.
All right, Zay,
I'm just saying.
Zay, what do you think?
But he was out here wilding. He was out here wilding as a president as well. So
I don't know if he's ever said the N word, but he's done some nigga shit. So
yeah, I'm saying.
it is
So
what it is.
I don't know. He's from Arkansas.
Man, what do you think? What do you think, Zay?
Oh wow, that's tough. That's tough for me. Listen. I really don't think he's ever said
I'm gonna
A
agree.
or R.
Yes, I'm gonna agree with you, Zay. But Keanu knows something. Keanu just looked at him and was like, nah, he's
no,
you
he
know-
looked like the white. He looked like it. He looked. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but the funny thing is though that I'm serious. He was for a long time. He was like the quote unquote first black president. That was
yeah,
that
we
was like
know,
one
yeah.
of his. That was one of his things, and people of color loved him, even after he did what he did with
No,
what's her face.
once he had drama in the house, niggas was like, oh, okay, like he goes through real shit. That's
he
the
with
thing.
it. He with that shit.
That's what.
Yeah.
Not even just like we like to see like you be normal. Like, I think that's why a lot of
That's crazy.
Cheating on his wife.
Hold
That's
up,
normal.
but Brothers was bigging him up. That's my man. You know what I'm saying? Getting head in the Oval Office.
I don't even think it's that. I just think like we like to see like people go through real shit. Like it was just like, oh man, like he's a regular human that makes mistakes. Like, oh, all right, bet, cool. I think it humanized him.
Dog.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't say he was I didn't say he was a saint, but people like to see people get humanized a bit. All right, before we go, Hillary Clinton. What do y'all think?
R.
Wow.
The both of them.
Here's
The both of them.
here's the thing that bothers me about Hillary Clinton. Like, I did vote for her. I'll stand on that. I never liked the whole going to the Breakfast Club and them asking you, what do you have in your bag? And you said hot sauce. Like, come on, man. Like, I hated that shit. Like, no, you don't. First of all, I don't know black people keep hot sauce in their bag. Like, why did you normalize that or try to normalize that? I didn't never like that. So, but in saying that, I don't think she's ever said R or A. I don't think so.
Ever. Where's
Ever.
she from?
I
Where's she
I
from?
think she's from Arkansas as well. Let me double check. Well, Zay, you're our researcher. You find out for us. But no, I'm gonna say nay. I don't think she's ever used it. Kiani's saying R. Zay, what are you saying?
No, I don't think either.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I think she's corny for doing that hot sauce shit, but I don't think she. Yeah, I don't think she's. Nah, I don't think she's used the N word in any derogatory way, or said A and anything like that. So, all right, guys. Thank you very much. This was a great show. I had fun. Always fun doing it with you guys. Any last words before we go? These clips, man.
Thank you.
These clips are hilarious. These comment sections, boy. Man.
Yo, I feel like we got a good ass episode today. There's gonna be a lot of good clips.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking out the mother part though. That's for damn sure.
The what?
The mother part.
You be bugging. You were bugging. Like my mom said, I'm all wet. Pause.
What? Yo, no Diddy.
No,
That's
That man
crazy.
is crazy.
You on that Diddy shit right there.
All right, guys.